All right, we're back. I got to turn me down. Hey, everybody. We're back with Tenements of the Great Rift. It's Monday, not Sunday. We're doing weird things because holidays are funky for scheduling. So, we're doing this tonight. And last time we were here, we basically had a episode for once. After all of the crazy dungeon, dangerous things, people know us who shouldn't, who the fuck are you, what's going on, kind of stuff in some big dungeons. So I think that felt good, right, guys?
Yes.
As a legitimate sort of recap, I think some of the biggest things we got out of it were we did some work, like jobs work for money. That was fun. And then Iz got a cool crossbow quiver of sorts that she had commissioned from the one and only Fang Ironhead, and he delivered, I think, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Tell me it did
That's
good.
rad as hell.
No, I'm kidding.
Validate me.
He's repossessing it immediately.
What else? We had a lot of discussion with the two elves that remained in Red Larch, as well as the constable was there, but basically was kind of a bug on the wall for the whole conversation you guys had with them about this dream encounter with a black dragon that seemed to be attacking Red Larch. You guys experienced it within your group and saw each other within it at the time. And the elves experienced it within their own group and experienced each other within it at the same time, but there was no crossover between the two. So two of these friends are currently in Waterdeep, trying to sort some stuff out, according to the two that remain here. And I don't know if there's anything of particular importance that you wanted to mention out of that whole conversation, but they all seem to be pretty enthralled in what they're trying to figure out and looking for. They keep saying these things about echoes, and that sort of thing. And I think at the end of the day, we pretty much just ended up asking Mother Yolantha via a magical message, because she was currently in Waterdeep as well, if we might be able to work with someone to get quick transport to the city, because we'd like to do some things there. And she showed up with one Onthar Froome. I put some things together for you. I'm going to show this to you because I did it.
Yeah.
Visuals.
Oh my god, yes!
Boom.
Whoa.
Cool.
Hey,
This
buddy.
dude.
Nice.
Hold on, let me refresh my roll 20. I'm not popping up yet.
No. Pretty cool looking.
It's like he's covered in helmets.
Hey, fancy.
It does look like 1,000 helmets.
Like these things look like helmets, the knee braces look like helmets.
Yes. I'll go to Twitch instead. Maybe that one will work better.
If it didn't pop up for you, it should still be in your journal now. So you should be able to pull it up from that view. Okay, so anything that we need to add or clarify from the recap before we get into what's happening now?
Gert and I watched a conversation on Between Gods. We found out that quote Cara Dune cannot fail. Or was it
Must not fail?
Must not fail?
He's capable of failing, but we're hoping it doesn't happen.
But he shouldn't fail.
Yes.
It would be real bad if he did.
Yes, that was the successful divine intervention, yeah?
Bananas.
That was so cool.
That was pretty wild. I don't think I've seen an actual divine intervention happen, so hopefully I did it justice, because that's supposed to be like a big thing.
Yeah,
So
it was as
spoiler alert,
cryptic.
it was.
Yeah.
Might have been a little cryptic, but very important.
It was the perfect amount of cryptic, I believe.
All right. So here we are in your basically your common room, right? In Red Larch. You had just sent a message to Mother Yolantha, and like seconds later, not even a minute, she arrived with this guy. So he did introduce himself as Anthar Froom, head of the Order of the Gauntlet, Council of Waterdeep. Did we get all those titles?
Yes.
Yes.
And the floor is yours, guys.
Oh, well, it's nice to know that we won't have to wait long, isn't it?
No, it seemed that this matter was rather important, especially if this one personally saw that I came with.
Sick.
Is that Anthar saying that?
That is Anthar, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's rare that I try voices. I'm branching out a little bit, but...
Okay. Yeah, just wanted to make sure. So it's
Challenge
not like
accepted.
Yellow.
Just kidding.
I mean, are we ready? Does everybody have their stuff? Like, do we need anything?
I mean,
I
this
mean,
is
can-
the
can
room
s-
we've been staying in. So
Can someone go like run and tell the constable that we're leaving? Because we kind of just like came up with this like right now.
Don't you all have the ability to
I mean, like,
speak?
I
I'm-
can't unless I can see him where he's within 120 feet, and I don't think he is.
I'm out right now.
Okay, why don't we tell him in the morning? Hey, took a quick trip to Waterdeep. BRB.
Cool. I think we can do that.
Say.
Is your friend coming with us?
Oh yeah, Nyver, do you want to go back to Waterdeep, or do you want to just like kick it in Red Larch? I don't know what your plans are.
Honestly, I'm not sure what I would do either way.
Cool. I have a feeling this is gonna happen again. So if you want to hang out here, we will find you later.
How about I go talk to the constable and see if I can pick up something to do here while you're gone?
Oh, you can like let him know that we're also leaving for a bit too.
Yes,
so
could you
that-
also do that?
Yeah.
is that
That's
okay?
number one.
Sorry.
Got it.
Awesome.
Absolutely don't mean to make you the messenger, but please and thank you.
All right.
Please be the messenger.
I will give her a hug and say, "Tell me before you leave somewhere next time."
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Be safe.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. Fully how I would actually end that conversation.
I don't know what your thing is. Do you do the like more on the cheeks
Oh,
or
no,
like
no.
Okay.
No.
I barely hug
It's-
people.
I was gonna say if it's anything like us, it's okay. Love you. Bye.
Let me bye. Yeah.
My
Joe's got it with the handshake. That was cool.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. I let's do this.
Let's go.
Go.
Woo!
Woo.
Okay. Mother Yolantha is just donning her iconic smile and simply gestures with her two hands for you guys to basically step into a circle in front of her and Anthar. And immediately after, we'll start sort of like playing with thin air right in front of her as if she's twisting an object and putting things together and then stretching something out. And you'll see a sigil appear. It's very Doctor Strange-esque.
Like it.
And then she will push it down, and this rune will appear as if burning into the floor beneath you, and she'll snap. The entire thing erupts into a white pillar of light, and you can feel as if you're free falling for just a brief moment. And then you will end up in a common room that Cal, you would recognize. It's a common room inside the Watchful Order of Magists and Protectors facility in Waterdeep. just rife with bookshelves and tables, and you can see some like alchemy stations. Everything is in pristine condition, clean and organized, and is abuzz with all manner of people. Some in a hurry, some are chatting with each other. It's a busy midday experience, and nobody really seems to pay any mind to the fact that you all just appeared here, as if it's a semi-regular occurrence. And Onthar will kind of look at you guys with a smirk and say, I'm still not used to that.
Yeah, that was wicked cool.
Thanks.
I think Gert just like leans over and throws up real quick. I'm good. Just slow motion sick. It's fine. It's fine. Okay.
Theron's pupils dilate. Just.
Oral's immediately like, how did you do that?
Oh, when you've been practicing as long as I have, the wizardry just kind of comes to you.
Is there a circle on the ground that we like landed in?
It was there for a brief moment, but is gone.
Okay. Cool. I was hoping to stare at it for like a minute for the future. That's cool.
Do you mean to like observe certain things, or just to like see it?
To observe certain things, to hypothetically be able to do this for us in the future.
Make a perception check. You would have seen it as it appeared and disappeared for
Cool.
sure.
Big money, no whammies, guys.
First roll of the night. How's it go?
Probably not great. If
Pretty good.
If the last time I was rolling on here tells me anything.
Hey.
18's not bad.
18?
Yeah.
18.
Okay. You would have recognized that the runes resemble common structures, I guess, for abjuration magic. Actually, you're rolling that high enough that I'm just basically going to translate that to an Arcana check. We could kind of play between the two, but it doesn't really matter enough, I think, in this case. You would have recognized that as a form of a spell called Magic Circle, but in its own sort of flavor.
Sure.
Welcome to homebrew shit.
Yeah.
I love it.
Good to know. Cool.
Okay,
Now
so
what?
yeah, sorry. I'm like, what do you guys want to do? I just put you in the middle of this place.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you guys to a general map of the Sword Coast, just so we can see
Oh my god, yes.
Waterdeep over
Let's
here.
go.
Woo!
We're so far away from Red
That
Lord.
is so far.
Yeah, Red Larch way up there. That would have been a lot of travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
250 miles.
Dude.
Holy
Gross.
shit.
Holy
Gross.
shit.
Hard gross.
Hard gross.
You would have had some arts and crafts time.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my god, we might have been able to do the sending stones.
Yeah, we could have read a book for 2 weeks.
All right, so let's get this scooted a little bit so the stream can have some fun viewing the things. So you're in the middle of this large common room that is sort of, it seems like a mix between what you would know as like a library and an area of study and teaching, and just like imagine the Middle Earth version of like a dorm's common area sort of thing, but like stacked with bookshelves and academic stuff. And Anthar and Mother Yolantha would be leading you to a sort of main room in the back end of the hallway. And as they open the double doors, you would see a similar room, similar site, minus all the people. This sort of another really large common area of clearly study and meeting and academia, but with only a few people inside that are clearly discussing with each other. You will see one High Elf, and Joe, I somehow, and I'm just realizing it, my bad, I somehow have misplaced my notes from your trip here. So if you happen to have anything, I don't know if it would be in like our Facebook Messenger conversation. I checked Discord, but didn't see anything there. I do remember sending you at least one name of an elf that you would have met with while you were here. Until we actually find that name, I'm just going to leave it at Cal recognizes this person among three others. Another very similar looking male high elf, and this person who introduces herself as Astriel Shalin of the Lord's Alliance. Yep, this person. Much like Anthar, but minus all the bulky elements of his armor, she is wearing an incredibly thick and like fitted, not in a sexy way, but like clearly tailored to her body, kind of really intense armor and a tremendous broadsword. She is clearly of very high standing. And then one more person. Whoops. Player handouts. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen, that's why. This guy,
Cool.
who introduces himself
Yo.
as Rydoth of the Druids.
So Juice.
Oh,
Is
Emerald
that-
Enclave. Yes, go ahead, Joe.
Sorry, was that person a moon elf?
That sounds about right.
I have a moon elf from Silver Moon named Terrestrial.
Yes, can you please send that to me? And
Yes.
I correct my previous statement, not high elves, moon elves.
Okay. In my recent research on some of this stuff, isn't a moon elf like a variation of a high elf, or are they different things?
They're like a more specific sort of subclass of moon elf.
Okay.
Sorry, of high elf, yes.
Yeah, high elf. Yeah. Okay.
Just a little bit more specific. Like bourbon is a whiskey, but is more specific than just whiskey.
Got it.
That kind of thing.
Always comes back to whiskey, doesn't it?
Yep.
Hey, I love my whiskey. Not ashamed of it.
I'm sending you the whole clip. I can tell it's what you sent me because it's a different little shade. So I'm just sending you that little paragraph.
Perfect. Thank you.
So you've got all that stuff too.
Perfect.
Sorry, I also just read ahead to that one part about the person with the other name. This person's the only one with a last name, but that's not actually important, so don't think too much about it. It's like, all right.
Yep. Okay, so you got those three people. They're sort of like in the middle of discussion with each other, and the table in front of them is littered with all sorts of papers, some in stacks, some are individual, and it's a lot less organized than what the rest of the room looks like. It should be clear that they're in the middle of a sort of meeting, and Astriel will come up to you collective you, and say, it seems you've been busy of late. Busy enough that that these folks seem important for you to meet with us.
We've been
So-
busy. What?
So do you know what's been going on?
Well, not quite. That's part of the reason that we agreed to send him to make sure you got here personally. An information exchange seems to be in order, and I would like to see if there's any help we can deliver, especially for the infamous Caliphas Regnathra, the Hambidahauba.
That sounded actually perfect, I think.
So that's how you say your last name.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly
More
like
B's
that.
than I was expecting, but good
Spell
to
it.
know. Good to know.
Spell it.
Silent B's, man. Infamous. That's good to know, Cal, that you're infamous and famous.
Known, but I don't know about famous or infamous.
Oh, he's rather humble. Although I suppose it hasn't been of the Alliance's best strengths that communication, be included. But your tactics on patrol and flanking in close combat have been noted in the war that you participated in. Unfortunately, is no longer over. But it's been monumental in our training of new recruits.
Well, I simply just learn from those that come before me and hope to teach well those that come after. So any way to be of assistance.
Yes, and much appreciated. Although one of the primary concerns, at least on my front, would be what exactly would pull such a decorated and respectable general out of retirement, and what would spur the stories that I'm hearing coming from your adventures. Please fill us in.
What was that? Your directed at Cal, or was that again to the collective?
That was definitely to everybody. She would have scanned the group in general as she's saying all of this. Sorry, I'm working hard at the theater of the mind thing, so please ask Claire.
No, this is great.
No, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So Cal, you know these people.
Yes.
So, remember that time that I don't trust nobody?
I've even gone through some shit. So, GM, what? Would there be any reason for me to doubt anyone that I've met, or that I'm familiar with here?
Surface level, that might be kind of a subjective question, but I'm going to try to go off of what I think you're trying to get at. Astro Selin would be a name you've heard as the leader of the Lord's Alliance, though you'd not met her before. The Moon Elf, Terrasil, is one of the small group that basically consulted with you and helped you with trying to understand these visions that you were getting before you came back. The others you would not have seen or heard of before. So Anthar, Rydoth, and the other similar looking elf. Oh wait, no, the other elf was there with Terrasil, but you never got their name.
So I guess my question is, I don't know. This seems like a ridiculous question because I'm kind of asking a character question in a way.
Ask away. That's fine.
I'm asking a question I should be asking myself, I feel like.
Oh.
But I guess I'm just wondering, would thinking out loud as well, would Cal start to be suspicious of even those he had alliances with if there was secrets and stuff going on? So yeah, I guess if I had that type of familiarity and everything like that, Gert, caution is always indeed a good strategy, but I feel for the next steps we are about to take, we should entrust those around us to give us their assistance. It's my roundabout way of not giving a direct answer at all.
Excellent.
I probably should have mentioned if you guys didn't notice, the armor that Onthar is wearing is like full emblazoned front chest plate with the Order of the Gauntlet hand. So Taryn and Gert, you would definitely
mine,
recognize
yeah.
that.
We would know that he was like important.
Right.
I mean, is he the one? Would he have been the one who sent us on our mission to begin with?
He might have been involved in some way because you would recognize him as the leader of your organization.
So we know him.
so
His
he
name,
is.
you know his name.
Okay.
You would not have seen him
Okay.
before.
So we know he's like full on the leader and not like just a high rep.
He's not a middle manager. He's the man.
Okay. Okay. If there aren't any more like clarifying questions, I have something that I would want to do, but I don't want to like cut like the question time short. So I think so with that, Taryn would kind of go he would address Astriel and say, well, I guess it depends on what are the stories that you've been told about what's happened.
Well, so far we have 2 drow, highly unusual, telling us that they have experienced a vision of a close encounter with one adult black dragon who claims magic of the shadows, as wild as that may seem, and killed most of them in their sleep. Are we aware of the sleeping patterns of elves?
Oh.
Oh no.
Oh,
Oh.
how many of us are aware of the
They don't
sleeping
sleep.
patterns of elves?
They just meditate for 4 hours.
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
do the trance thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's also my understanding that 2 more that accompanied them, even more unusual, all experienced the same thing together. And in learning more about them, they all seem to have come from different, what they refer to as times. Babbling about echoes and an angel. And while all of this is certainly possible in our world, the level of unusual here is getting pretty high. So, I don't know how this ties to you directly, other than the fact that those 2 elves who have spoken with me directly have experienced some time with you all as well, and have told me some of your traverses into the Desserin Valley, into unusually undocumented territory. Now, I assure you, I am accusing you of nothing, no crimes, no ill doing or anything, but it seems that the stars are aligning in such an unusual way that this may warrant some of our attention. And any assistance we may be able to provide if you intend to continue.
Is there anything you need from us? You had the phrase exchange of information that implies that we have information that we can provide to you.
Yes, and I assure you this is not a bartering system. I only intend to gain your trust, to learn yours, and to have everything possible on the table. The best I can provide is what information we have and the resources, of course, that are available to us. And she'll gesture to like all the books and the people around and everything. And if necessary, funding.
Okay. Well, who has a question that we can throw at
boy.
him and
Find my list.
see what happens? Throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks.
Yup.
Uh,
There were at least 5 different points over the past week where I was like, what the fuck? I don't even know. YOLO. We're gonna have to do it live.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
God.
you know what? They're probably not going to know anything about this, but it wouldn't hurt to ask. And
Challenge
this
accepted.
is not necessarily anything that's gonna, blow up anything on us. What do you guys think about the concept of a multiverse?
I like it. I like it. Diving straight into the
Yup.
meat of the issue. Let's
Yup.
do it.
The elves in the room basically go and then look at you and go, "Oh, you're serious?"
Yeah. How do you feel about a multiverse? What are your
Astriel's
thoughts?
looking at them and they've got this like half confused, half entertained look on their faces. And then Anthar, Rydoth, and Astriel are going to sort of look at each other, raise an eyebrow, and Astriel will say to the elves, I guess it's time for a crash course. And Terrasil will sort of drop the entertainment factor with like a, oh, okay. And he'll do kind of do this, snap a finger, and a book will conjure in front of him, and he's gonna turn it to you. I have another thing for you.
Oh, I thought it was the same book that she already had.
More things.
Right? Like, if
No.
it's already my book.
Is it the Tome of Foes? No.
I was like ready,
But maybe it's an easier to read version.
right?
And
Uh-huh.
he
Oh.
will say to you,
God.
Where
jeez.
do you have an idea of where we should begin? Oh, I love the collective groan. I did it good.
I've looked at this image so many times. It's so
Yup.
painful. Oh my God.
Shoot.
It's a lot,
get
man.
this lined up. There we go.
Hold on. Oh no, it's only on my TV, and so I can't zoom in on it.
Oh, no.
There's an
Oh,
hourglass
hey, it
feature, so
zoomed.
you can click on it and it'll widescreen it.
Oh jeez.
Gloria.
Okay. Alright.
I'm gonna point out a few things, DM to players, that you, the characters, have at least heard of to this point. And we can make history checks if you would like to know if your characters might know anything beyond that. For the clerics, material plane, ethereal plane, and the planes of elemental chaos. Actually, all of you have at least heard about that.
Yeah.
The clerics, you would be able to immediately recognize the Nine Hells and the Abyss as sort of on that outer ring, as part of the lower planes of chaos kind of thing. Everything in the bottom half you understand to be the sort of usually more chaotic, with an exception being the Nine Hells, which do operate by a law, a code. And then up to the upper area, you have the upper planes, the astral plane more specifically, which is like basically heaven, dominion of the gods, that sort of thing.
So yeah, I know what some of this stuff is, but it's like the top is where souls will like go after they die in the material plane, like all the bottoms, all the bad stuff. A lot of the other things are just kind of just jumbly, I guess, to me at least. I don't know about everyone else.
Yeah, this is all fairly new to this brain and comprehension. The fuck?
So I know a little bit about the Abyss and the Nine Hells. A little bit. I'm learning. And it makes sense that we live on the material plane. I guess my question to you is, could there be an infinite amount of material planes just in different universes?
Like if I'm gonna like pull out a sheet of parchment and like rip it in half, and then like draw the material plane on one, and then draw it on the second one, and then put like one sheet behind the other, and it's like kind of like this is a visual example, where like they're different but the same, just like keep shuffling back between each other. It's just like making as good of a diagram as a multiverse as you really could.
Everybody make a perception check, please.
Oh, tight.
I'm good at this.
Oh
Ooh.
no. Oh no. It's bad.
Oh.
I'm just staring at the abyss, wondering what the hell's going on.
In the interest of keeping it simple, I'm just going to kind of use the collective and make it sort of the same for all.
I got a 20.
Unless you guys want to role play it differently, then you can override what I tell you. But otherwise, I'm just going to kind of like everybody's in the same boat kind of thing.
Hooray, averages.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Someone's got to throw the curve. That's why we're here.
There you go.
Okay. It's fine.
You're the one who's celebrating the A in the class because the curve helped you out.
Look at you go! Hell yeah!
So you would all generally notice that when Taryn does that, especially nice flavor by the way, golf clap, especially when you slip one behind the other and start shifting them around like that, the one who's showing you the book totally ruffles his brow in obvious thought, like surprised thought, and then looks at the other and he's making the same face, and they sort of nod at each other, and he goes, wow, you really jumped from the intro level to advanced theory. Where is this coming from?
Real life?
I mean, the elves aren't lying, or the drow aren't lying. This is kind of how we think it works.
So, okay. I'm gonna level with you on this part. I don't quite know how this is possible. But you mentioned that you know that all of the drow are from different times.
So they've claimed, and so far have not been able to prove otherwise.
Right. So here's the weirder part. They've all met me in their times, at different phases of my life. And as far as I know, I'm from right now.
As you say that, the faction leaders at this point are fascinated. They're watching, listening to everything. They are not making any sort of interrupting movements or interjecting at all. The elves are going to look at each other again, and the one holding the book is going to close it, and it'll sort of phase back out as it had phased in. And he's going to walk up to you and say, and sort of hold his hands out to you and say, "May I?"
Sure.
He'll put the palms of his hands basically like right on this part of your neck on both sides and just
Oh, I thought I was gonna get to do this.
stares deadpan into your eyes, and you feel this like little static shock, like from your neck, and it sort of tingles all the way out to your hands and feet. And all of the rest of you would just notice he does not blink. His eyes sort of go completely white for just a moment, and then his irises and pupils will reappear, and he's still staring straight into her eyes. And he'll say, "Well, it seems we have more study ahead of us. This is new. Everybody, no check needed. You would notice for the first time, probably after looking at her face, with a little bit more intent to notice her eyes than you might have to this point, her pupils are sort of in this wavy effect, like phasing in and out, as if imagine like paper burning from one side to the other, and then top to bottom, and then maybe up at this angle. It's just this sort of effect of existing and non-existing in a wavy pattern. Terrasil will continue. Chronergy magic is relatively new, and this must be related. But our understanding of it is so incomplete. I have no reason not to trust you. But what we may be able to provide as far as information on this may be very limited.
There was something mentioned about it before we got here of like, if these other planes of existence were being rapidly connected, like if multiple portals were being opened to them, would that be able to affect time in any way?
Multiple portals would be incredibly difficult to achieve. I mean, this goes into to say that the usage of magic is involved would be a severe understatement, and only the beginning. In order to achieve such a thing, one needs an incredible amount of power and focus and capability, usually a handful, at least, of extremely powerful beings with the same goal, the same focus, the right location, not only in the physical world, but within the weave itself. You're saying you've seen multiple portals. Do you know where they went to?
I'm gonna like look back to everyone and kind of be like, well, if we're being honest with all of our information, we back down in the Desserin Valley. That's what it was called, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Back in the Desserin Valley, there were 4 just general structures that had cultists practicing various magics, and that were able to summon creatures of air, fire, water, and earth to their aid.
He's going to sort of wave his fingers in front of his face and make this motion, and a single piece of parchment will appear, glowing with a sort of blue hue to it, and he'll hand it to you and say, "Can you show me?"
Is it like a map that I can write on, or is it? I'm just gonna look at the
just a blank piece of paper.
Not our map.
So I'll take out my map, or I'll reach for our map that we've marked on our own as this is the stuff that we found, and kind of show him that, and then I'll try and quickly sketch, I guess, the creatures that we saw.
There will be no
different
need,
elements.
because as that is your intent, the second you touch this paper, everything that you're thinking will appear.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, that's so
So
cool.
cool. What the fuck?
Don't think anything dirty.
Close the browser window. Close the browser window.
It's just a
We're
quick
all
sketch
stay away
of
from the paper.
it's just a quick sketch of Tempest and Osiris talking to each other, so everyone knows what they look like.
So I'm gonna allow you the opportunity to share, by your own will, what exactly you would like to appear in this paper. You mentioned a map. You mentioned Tepes and Osiris talking. You have mentioned an altar. You've mentioned the cults. Literally anything that you can think of that you would like to share, we can say will appear on this paper.
Everything. So the most. So I think the biggest things that would appear would be the different elementals. And I think the biggest one would probably be the air one that was invisible, because that was one of the most recent and the most threatening so far. That would
The
be
one that
one of
attacked
the
you with the reincarnated or reborn Thurl? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that one. That would appear. There would be probably the different prisoners would be something that Taryn would be thinking about at this moment, both in Sacred Stone and in the Howling Hatred, the ones tied to the pillars. The map of the general area would be there. What else would be there? I want to keep this in separate groups before I go off and do another thing, because I'll probably forget my stuff. so with the cults, I think that is most of what would happen. Thurl would probably make a small appearance, his original face versus his reanimated face.
That's
Okay.
That would probably pop up somewhere. I think Whirl's dad would pop up in a corner. What else? I think that's most of the stuff with the cults. The altar in its entirety, or as much of as Taryn would be able to remember, would appear, and I would say the language that he could understand would be clearly written out, and the other ones might be a little blurry and a little hazy, because he doesn't know those languages. Then
Carla's
That
helping.
druid guy's really getting right in there.
Carla's helping.
Sorry.
That's absolutely fine. I think that would be most of the cult stuff. Then there would be another like large drawing of the same black dragon. It would be kind of like a little bit of a reenactment slash depiction of the dragon being stabbed by the angel, and then Bigby and
Elminster.
Elminster, thank you, and Elminster standing next to it would also appear.
That reminds me.
You get faces on.
Carla's just getting all love
and then
right
as well,
now.
like the two gods talking. I mentioned that, but yeah.
Again, I think she has to possibly do the deed.
Okay.
So-
We're just about an hour in anyway, so why don't we go ahead and take that break,
Cool.
and we will have the response to Taryn's memories on paper.
Great.
We'll be right back.
Cool.
All right, quick break. We're back. Just getting a quick refresh on what Taryn would be sharing from his memories onto this magical parchment in order to discuss with these very high-level people what's going on. What's going on here? All right, so Taryn, we had everything up to the depiction of Tempest and Osiris talking. Did you say there was other stuff as well?
Yeah, the additional stuff that I just remembered is like more prevalent, and I think the other stuff isn't as important.
Okay.
So the two other things that I would have remembered adding would have been the eye, at the altars, and then Renwick would probably have Renwick would have had a quick sketch in one of them, on somewhere on the parchment.
Okay. All right. So, as you finish, Terrasil will take the paper back and give it a quick glance himself, turn it to the second side, give it a quick glance, hold it out in front of him, and it'll sort of float right there. And then you'll see blue light shooting up as if projecting your memories as they happen. You'll flash to images of the various cults, what they're wearing, their symbols, and the types of magic that they use. And he'll say, general practitioners, clearly amateurs, learning though. And then it'll actually flash to the different depictions of prisoners at the cults and the sort of extreme measures that their initiations involve, including torture and starvation, and a quick image of maybe one or two of them, looking like they're on death's door, but still pledging their dedication to the cause and the group. And he'll say, a crude and frankly old attempt at getting the mind to bend to the extreme stress that the magic they would learn would necessitate. And then it'll quickly go to Thurl. And I'm going to say Thurl flying on the Manticore.
Oh,
Oh no!
so one of the things I mentioned that I forgot to say the second time was World's Dad.
World's
Dad was also on there. There we go. That's what it was.
Okay. I'm going to say Thurl riding on the Manticore, like the image of looking at him, and Cal is on, right behind him on that Manticore, and then the rest of you are behind them, like nosediving in the middle of your attack, and how enthralled and happy he is. And then it'll wash over to this reanimated version of him, and all of you would see that his eyeballs are like just shooting out this bright light. And when you saw him in real life, he had this like creepy green flaming eye thing going on, but in this depiction, they are just as if like actively breathing fire out of his eyes kind of thing. And Terrasil will pause on that for a moment, and it'll zoom in onto his face. This is no ordinary necromancy. he was hunting you. This was a revenant. And then it'll flip quickly to Renwick in his in the study, the room that you had first encountered him, and like a quick fast forwarding of some of the interactions you had, finishing with him summoning his shadowy armor onto himself and then sweeping through the entire monastery with you guys to clear it out. And he'll say, "That's more like it." Then you will go to the altar, and it says it would be clear by this point that Terrasil is like actively scanning the memories that you've put onto this paper and going to like focal points that he wants to go to. But you're all able to see it as he's doing it. So he goes to the altar. He sort of like goes directly to the table itself, and you can see that in the different instances you've seen, one of them was in pristine condition and then it just vanished completely. And then the other had this massive like crack down the middle after he had finished an encounter. And then a third one was already cracked down the middle in a similar way by the time you got there. And you can see that he's trying to piece something together with all of that, but doesn't really get to a conclusion that he tells you about. But then he sort of scans up and down the two pillars, and you can see all of the writing, and in the various languages you can understand, you can each see the individual words that are in languages you can understand, and then you see them blurred out when you can't. And then he just sort of blinks and nods his head this way, and all of a sudden everything is written in common, and you can read it all. And he's going to say, "More crude attempts at combination. They're trying to combine. But this has nothing to do with the cults. Or at least the cultists don't know that this is the goal. They're working for someone else, are they not?"
I'm sorry that I didn't get any of this down, but they did have higher leaders that carried magical weapons, and then I'll point to Drown and like kind of do a gesture at Windvane, but I think we wrapped up Windvane in something, so you can't really see it. So like it'll be mostly towards Drown, and I'll express they had higher ups that were carrying these weapons that they were able to make these orbs that would detonate, and those who carried them kept going on about salvation for another's in another's domain. There's something of the sort.
As you say that, the other elf who's been nearly silent to this point just like bursts out with a "Good thing we sent him with you," and gestures towards Anthar, and Anthar's sitting there like, "Oh, oops. Well, if those are what you say they are, there's no way you would have survived the trip here without me."
Oh.
There a bounty on these?
Well, not yet, assuming no one else knows about them. But the Mythals around not only Waterdeep as a whole, but around this place would have killed you instantly had you not been with one of them, or myself.
Oh.
This is evil magic.
Okay.
And then the image is actually going to shift away from your memories for just a second and go to another projection of the multiverse. And you'll see this sort of triangle form from the astral plane at the top to the 9 hells to the abyss and back up to the astral plane. And this shape will completely encompass not only the material plane, but the elemental planes of chaos around it. And with that, you'll see the various runes of the, or the symbols of the cults sort of appear near their respective elemental plane as well. These are born of perhaps the abyss, perhaps the elemental planes, perhaps both. At any rate, then the image will flash down to the memory of the Scarlet Moon visitor killing the Black Dragon, but not before it gets briefly slashed with this knife from Iz. And you'll see this moment of like super zoom in on that knife and then go away. And then like at the moment the being impacts the dragon from behind with the sword just pointed down, you'll zoom into that and see this scoffed look on his face, just angry. Sorry, of the memory, the image of the visitor, with his wings outspread as he's delivering this killing blow. I do not recognize this being, but there is an angel if I've ever seen one. Then we will get to the depiction of Tempest and Osiris talking, and he'll say, this just keeps getting more and more interesting. There's no mistaking this to be at least a projection onto you of something that we must believe happened or is happening. Then it'll flash to the eye. Sorry, there's a lot, but you know what? I'm liking this.
Yeah, this is really cool.
It'll flash to the eye and you'll see all those symbols of the elements again with this sort of main iris in the middle, and it'll blink. And the entire shape will actually change into a great ruby gem. That's not your memory. Curious. Powerful, but curious. Then we get to Whirl's dad, who appears at first as just this sort of bulbous genie. And then he'll give a wink and sort of poof into this cloudy like substance that the bottom half of his body was as he was inside or projecting outside of the bottle that he still currently resides in.
Yeah, I forgot.
Oh, of course, genies are involved. Is it more than one or just this one?
This is the only one we found. Sorry, you were gonna speak?
He was,
Will?
he was the only one we found so far.
Yeah.
And he's friendly to you.
Yeah.
Let's hope that remains to be the case. And he'll quickly flip to the next one.
Hey, just so you know, that ruby wasn't mine. That's
Oh, I'm well aware.
okay.
There was no mistaking that did not come from you.
Okay, thank you.
And then we finally end up at Bigby and Elminster. One.
Oh, it's him.
What happened?
Tim. Check the handouts.
Ooh, I did, but I think, oh no, what happened?
Did it not pop up for you?
No.
I see Big B.
I see Big B.
Oh, I see him. There he is. What?
The fuck?
That is a sick mullet, my dude.
What a dashing man that is.
Big B's nose.
And
Six
then-
stash beard combo too.
Oh my god.
Big man, no ways, big man, no ways.
And then this one.
Ooh.
What a
Ooh.
comfy butthole.
It's exactly how any Elminster I would ever meet, that's exactly how I would picture them.
Just a
looks
complete
like-
turd.
He looks like Prince Adam if he never became
Oh
He-Man.
my god.
Eat your
He was-
broccoli, Elminster. No.
I'm gonna mean mug that broccoli away. So you would see the quick memory of these two appearing at the vanquished dragon, exchange words with you and try to like shoot something at you and hit this barrier, and then leave with the body of the dragon. And Teresiel is going to sort of fold the piece of paper on itself. The projection will stop, and he'll look to his group and say, well, this has certainly been a journey, hasn't it? I don't know precisely what to make of that last bit. Would you? And the collective is just like, I can't say that I've ever met the one called Big B myself, though I know at one point he was associated with the famous wizard known as Mordenkainen. Elminster. Now there's a name. I can't say I've heard from him in centuries.
Is he alive?
Well, it would appear from this memory of yours, he is. If we combine that with your theory, he either was or will be. I don't know. His contribution to this community and this school had been monumental in his time.
How so?
Did
Like specifically?
he do a
well-
lot of magic teaching?
Mostly in terms of funding and unique artifacts to study and deconstruct and use of, their elements for creating other items of magical capability. The occasional lecture, perhaps a text here and there that I may not be recalling off the top of my head, but I would say the most unique was always how willing he was to teach. He always preferred to be in person. He always preferred to be a part of the lectures for the material that came from his own writings.
Did he, do you know if he ever, like, specialized in a particular school of magic or area of study?
In the time that I studied under him, no. And from everything I can recall after, also no. He dabbled in many areas and excelled in almost all of them.
What was he
Them's
like as a
thinking
person?
faces.
So
Yeah.
much information.
Sorry, Taryn, go ahead.
I said, what was he like as a person? Like, was he more of like the irritable type, or did he seem to get along well with everyone too?
He was the most outgoing and mild-mannered person I've personally ever met. But as I said, that was centuries ago.
Picture would say otherwise.
I was gonna say, show him the wraiths.
True. True.
Hmm.
Hmm. Out of
You-
character, I have a wild theory that I don't want to discuss in front of these folks.
That's fair.
Okay,
So-
that's fair.
We'll do that once.
We'll do
we
that.
hit our
We'll do that
next-
once
Yeah,
we get
yeah,
bunked. Yeah.
Mhm.
You mentioned something about combining incorrectly. Have you heard, or would you know what a mud alchemist is? That's the closest we've got to combining anything.
Mud alchemist? you say?
Listen, it sounded stupid to us too, but I've almost died about somewhere between 3 to 5 times within the past week.
No, I can't say I've ever heard of something like that myself. And he'll sort of look to the group to get corroboration, and all of them will just like, sounds to me like nothing more than an amateur name from a rank amateur practitioner.
How skilled would one have to be to imbue a weapon such as that trident with the ability to make those orbs? Would that be, I'm assuming that would be much above amateur?
May I see one?
I'm gonna turn to Cal or Gert, who have both of them, and let you have that judgment.
I look at Cal. I shrug. All right, and I pass over. Whichever. Windvane?
Windvane, yeah.
When vain, yeah.
All right. As you sort of like are agreeing whether or not you're going to do this, he'll nod to the 4 others at the table, and they will, in a manner very similar to what you've seen out of the 4 elves working with Constable, stand around him in perfectly equal spacing from each other and with him in the middle, with their various weapons drawn and pointed at him.
I'm just gonna yell to the guy in the middle. Good luck, and give him bardic inspiration.
As you hold out the
Hold on,
weapon, go ahead.
One
go ahead.
second, real quick. I'm gonna say, yeah, you can do it, and I'm gonna cast guidance on him so he gets the D4.
So you're handing him Windvane, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll hold it outstretched for him to grab, and he'll actually just sort of like do this with his hands, as if he's grabbing a field around it instead of it directly, and sort of float it up to himself in this space in the middle of the square. Lay it out flat and sort of run his hands along over it, not along it yet. And have this very concentrated look on his face. And at the moment that he presses his hands to make first contact with the staff here, you'll see like his entire robe, all of his hair, he gets like thrust up. While his feet stay on the ground, everything that's loose, it's as if this wind tunnel just shot into its on position. And a bright white light emits from the floor around him. And then he's going to take his hands off and sort of like shake it off. No amount of skill could create this. These are manifestations from the abyss. There is no
Right.
questioning.
Cool.
Can they be destroyed?
From my limited understanding, if they can be, it would only be from the place which they originated. I have a feeling you've been near.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
We're under the impression there are 4 of them. What happens when they're all 4 together?
In case it's not clear to this point, you are traversing uncharted territory, even for
Yep.
myself.
Cool.
I mean, we'll probably end up going back, because those places, the that had those tunnels in them, we have a ton of reason to believe that they're all connected. So we'll probably end up heading back down there. Would you want anything specific to study if we need to come back?
Astriel's gonna chime back in and say, anything you can return with safely and not at the sacrifice of yourselves.
So does that mean we could get an escort every time we need to come through, considering we don't know what is going to kill us and what wouldn't?
Not only would that be advised, but it may be necessary. I will personally handle that.
I'm gonna look back to everyone else. What else do we need? I know that there's more, but my memory's blinking a bit.
Yeah. You mentioned the genie. We're under the impression that he was originally contained by Torhild Flametongue. Do you know anything else about him?
Onthar's is going to perk up when you mention that name. Why, yes, he was a rather influential dwarf eons ago. He's gifted in the arcane arts himself.
I know he made this horn that trapped the genie that you saw. I was wondering if is there any other information about other things that he might have done, and why genies?
Well, I do know that our ancient ancestors frequently stumbled upon high concentrations of magical areas, sometimes referred to as knots, in what we know as the Weave, deep underground, which is of course the Dwarvish Way. And as much as I hate to admit it, it would not be the first time that I've heard of one of my kind getting not only too curious, but perhaps a little greedy with the power that he discovered. Did he enslave this person, this genie?
Yes.
But you've taken care of that.
I have taken care of it?
I will do some research on this matter. And I can send you information as I find it.
Sounds good.
You mentioned the portals back when I had talked about the multiple portals needing the right location. Have you met Bruldenthar or Gimlin, the dwarves?
The Iron Helms.
Yes.
I've not met them, but I've certainly heard of their work. It seems that they may be getting on to something. I may have to pay more attention to them than I had in the past.
Great. So here's some stuff that we learned weeks ago when around the time we first arrived in Red Larch. We found, at least Gimlin told us, that the Desrin Valley has experienced a pattern of complete annihilation. Just a cycle repeating over and over again for centuries. Would that have anything to do with referenced a knot in the weave or something complicated within it?
It very well could. It would depend on the manner of this annihilation that you're speaking of.
I think that those brothers have better have a better understanding and could articulate it better than any of us really could. I could make it to where they would know to come here if that's what you needed. Or
I imagine that would be very helpful. I think it may be even more helpful if the other two drow were to accompany them as well.
great. I might need some time to get a hold of all of them.
It seems that at least in your case, time is very much of the essence. So if it's okay with you, we can take care of that.
I mean, that would be extremely helpful. I think two of the drow are still in Red Larch, and then two of them have split off. One of them was coming here, I believe, right? And then the other...
Both coming here.
Oh yes, they're already here. They are taking
they're
some much
already-
needed rest at the moment.
Here. Okay. And then another drow and one of the other brothers was going a different place,
Oh
weren't they?
no!
Oh no,
That's
Uh-oh.
Sam.
we lost a Sam.
Come back
Yo,
with
is he over
Sam.
We're just gonna turn this into a quick break. Hang on.
Oh no, our Sam!